Ouch.
It can record same way, so I think as
Well,
long
it's
as it can
recording
record,
here, so it's okay.
As long as this will record same. Because this one is another second on Facebook.
Yeah.
We're coming, guys. Soon get started. Hey. Class time indeed. I'm supposed to still be on the Wi-Fi, didn't it? Hold on, let me see. Yes, I am. Alright. Ready and waiting, we're coming. 1 second. 1 sec. Hear the tick noise. Welcome, Miss Lady, Miss Unbreakable. Welcome to Pum Pum 101. Somebody's saying it's her first time. Welcome.
Okay, Caleen, start us off.
Wow. Oh, Jesus. Good night, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Pum Pum 101. Now, my name is Caleen Dierdrick, and this gorgeous, gorgeous goddess is none other than the Pum Pum Lady herself, Vagina Lady, Ramona Riley. Now, tonight we are going to be talking about the exciting threesomes. So ready and brace yourselves. Brace yourselves. If this is your first time here, Pum Pum 101 is a live sex chat, yes? Where we're pretty much just edifying, giving you information about all things to do with sex, relationships, that kind of a deal. Alright? So, again, tonight we're talking about threesomes. You want to get started? Defining what exactly a threesome is.
Okay.
Alright.
So we always hear about threesomes, and the reality is that for most men, that is their fantasy if they've never had it. And if they've had it, then it's their fantasy again because they want it again.
Right.
And of course, as we know, we did start this sex chat for the men, right? Definitely the women are learning, and we want to educate them from this platform as well. But a lot of times, threesomes are brought up by the man, or thought of more by the man. And I guess it's just because of porn, and what they see, and the thought that, wow, I have two women, how amazing this could be. And don't get me wrong, I think no matter if it's two men or if it's two women, I think just the heightenedness of what's going on in the room or wherever you guys are creates more of it amplifies the situation. Threesomes, as I said before, can be with two people, two men and a woman. It can be with two women and a man. And I think that we should not, our society, I find, makes it seem like it's okay if it's two women and a man. But if it's two men and a woman, a lot of times there is this negative connotation towards that. Yes, she's a slut, she's a whore. How could she? Right? But the reality of the situation is we all need pleasure, and we all have our own fantasies, no matter what they are. And threesomes, a lot of times, are the man's fantasy. There are some women that do have this fantasy. And when you have any type of fantasy, it is always important to just embrace that. Embrace the fact that this is what it is. Don't be shy. Don't feel insecure. Don't feel, although we know that society can make us feel like what our thoughts are and our fantasies are is wrong, and it is not the norm. But at the end of the day, your fantasy is your fantasy. It's like your dream is your dream and your goals are your goals. I find a lot of times, and I don't know if you would agree with me or not, Caleen, that when it comes to threesomes, a lot of times, even though me as the man might want it and you as my woman might want it or might not want it, we don't talk about it. And so I think that's the first thing we need to talk about. As we always say, talking about what is happening. We got to talk about it.
Absolutely.
What do you say about that?
Okay. So just to take up from where it is that you left off, this whole idea that threesomes are usually fantasies, yeah? Somebody in the relationship either saw something or have had this desire for a protracted period of time.
Or has experienced it already. And
or has experienced it already, right? And decide that fine, I want to have this experience in this particular interaction. Now, the most important thing, one of the things that I talk to couples about all the time, is the importance of articulating your fantasies. It's perfectly fine. The things that you desire or whatever else, it's supposed to be okay for you to be able to have that conversation with
and
your
not
partner
feel judged
and not feel any way out of it. To be able to create a space where your partner can honestly dialogue about the things that excite them, the things that they're curious about, and not feel judged. Yeah, so to create that judgment-free zone in your relationship, that you can talk about these things just plain and clear, right?
Even if you never experiment and never do shit about it.
The thing is this, right? What I oftentimes say, sometimes it is articulating it that just kind of make it, that's it. You probably, you did that excited, it did have you in your belly and then look at something, but then the fact that you had the chance to speak about it openly to your partner was all that you needed in order to kind of diffuse it.
And maybe you do it, maybe you guys can talk about it too during your own sexual experience. And
Absolutely.
that is enough.
And that is enough.
Yes.
Can you imagine if she was here?
Yes.
You would have the
Would you? Yes.
Right.
That
but you
is
don't
great.
actually have to engage, but you definitely need to have a space where you both can talk about it and it doesn't get stupid afterwards, right? Now, the other thing is this. Having created the space, it is to determine if it is that we're going to do this threesome, what exactly we want, what is acceptable for this leader. Is it a case that, all right, so we're in a heterosexual relationship, right? Is it a situation where we want to bring in another woman? Or is it a situation where we want to bring in another man? Having that conversation. And I oftentimes say, if your partner isn't open or you're not really sure where your partner stands, where this whole thing is concerned, then you can start with a supposition. What if? Suppose. You know, somebody saw a movie the other day and my girlfriend them talk about this threesome something in a baby. How you feel about that?
Right.
What is your take? So this gives you kind of insight if it is that you and your partner never yet talk about it or you're not really sure how them feel about it. When you position it that way, then it's not you just coming out to say straight
I
up
want
that
this.
me want this. And then go frighten the man or go frighten the woman, you know what I mean? Kind of throw it down in a conversation. If you guys watching porn, if you're watching a movie and it come up, then that is your opportunity to introduce it. How would you feel about something like that?
And
have you ever had one done?
And
you know
this is the conversation you need to have before you get married, guys.
Locks.
Please.
Locks.
Don't, I mean, and if it's already done, it's already done. I mean, whatever.
Right.
But if you are not married and you are dating, don't date someone that is already locked off from this, what should I say, this fantasy that you could maybe have, or this fantasy that you might want to talk about, much less have.
Right.
We have to make sure that the person that we're with is open.
Somebody that is open.
Not
Right.
not that whatever you say goes, but they have to at least be open enough to hear what you're saying and not feel offended. That is important.
Absolutely.
Continue. Sorry to cut
you see this thing here where again, and I have to put this thing out there because oftentimes what I have discovered is you will have and it happens both ways. The woman will want another man. And that is surprisingly
and
a
she
whole lot
doesn't
more
talk about
and she's
that.
afraid to articulate this to partner because the thing is this, the repercussions. What is the man going to think if it is that I actually say that? Because the first thing that I will hear women talk about is, then I'm going to think I'm loose, or this is something I'm going to pursue outside of him. So
or he's not good enough.
There you go. Or I already have a little man in my line of sight when I want to run some pum pum pan. Right? So you don't want to upset the apple cart. The other thing, the reverse is the same. The converse is the same for the men
with the
because
woman.
exactly. The concern is very, very much the same. How it is that she's going to take it, this whole insecurity, because for some men, just mentioning a threesome is enough to cause rupture in the house for the next couple of months.
Worse if it's a next man.
No, that's what I'm saying, because for some women, it is so disconcerting, the idea that he might actually want to screw somebody else. Like, what the fuck is going on? You get what I mean? So, for a lot of men, I remember having a conversation with a couple, and the gentleman came in. He came to see me first, and his thing was, I have always wanted a threesome, but just to mention it to my wife, tension in the house. So you look on she too, every woman when you look on.
Oh,
is
you
it somebody
want
she you want? Is
want,
somebody like it? So I'm saying, ladies, listen. Let us get to this space here where we can rest the insecurities. First is to understand
Don't take that shit personal.
No, but it's to understand, Ramona, that the fact say your man there with you, or the fact say I am with you.
Should be enough.
No, the fact say that we are together don't mean that I'm blind. It don't mean that I don't find other people attractive. You understand?
Oh, well, that's a whole nother thing, though.
But it's the truth, because this is something that I find happens all the time. That you feel, say, the fact that we're in this relationship.
You see no one else.
I'm blind, and it's only you alone, Mr. McCann.
And you're the only good-looking person around here.
Thank you. So let us dispense with this stupid shit, so we can actually start to have real conversation. I love you to death, and even if it is that you and I are married, I was married, me and my ex-husband, I know his body type. I know the kind of woman them I'm like. And me just see somebody and go, so
watch out.
You understand what I mean? And he said, Jesus, peace, Caleen, and he watch her go down the way. We are watch Carnival, and he know me like the man them with the muscle, and so Mr. Man say, yes, Diedrick, so one there. Me did it, yes, I wipe off mouth sack. But it wasn't an issue, because him understand I'm not about to do anything about it. But my eyes still work. I appreciate it.
You should.
So exactly.
You're not the only two people that on this earth.
Thank you. So let us be realistic now. So before you can even have the threesome conversation, is being able to set that space where it's okay for us to talk about the fact that we are attracted to other people.
No, but I think our problem too, Caleen, is that we act like, from the beginning of the relationship, we act like there is nobody else in terms of visually,
right?
And when we look at someone, we hide and look. You know that hide and look.
Yeah.
All the man them, I see the man them do it all the while. Them just walk. And them have them woman, and them have them woman, and them walk with the woman, and then once them pass the woman who him was looking at, him go so, while the woman still a walk forward and him still a walk forward, but him a look, and I'm just like, really? Because if I see a good looking woman and I have my man beside me,
I'm going
to be like, you look on the girl, the other girl, the act.
Trust me.
And that don't mean someone want her, because she could not be my type. I'm sorry, but the reality is, she's a good-looking woman.
That's it.
You have slim woman will look good. You have big woman will look good. You have thick woman will look good. I mean, and it does not necessarily mean that is what you want, but you can appreciate the fact that this is a good-looking person in whatever shape, wear, or fashion that is.
Absolutely.
And we should be able to talk about that with our significant other.
It doesn't become an issue. So that is the first order of the day, being able to just creating that space that is comfortable to have that discussion. Yeah. Next thing is, when you have the discussion, right? It is saying, okay, fine. Determining, okay, who wants it, who approach who. I want the threesome. So I stepped to my man and I said, boy, babes, say, how you feel about the next man? Jesus, you can't sit down and watch. You can't sit down and watch, right? How you feel about our next man in the room? You don't have to touch one another. You don't have to not.
Please don't touch one another.
Absolutely. Oh God, no. No. You sit down over there, so him sit down right there, so you understand me, we see what can go. How you feel about that? Or it's the other way around.
Right.
The man being able to ask the woman, okay, how you feel about us bringing somebody else in the relationship, and then determining, okay, how we're going to go about trying to find this person. We have to caution enough, because the first order of the day is usually for draw for one. When we decide, so we're going to have a threesome, where is the first place that most people go?
Strip club.
In the who?
Strip club.
No, watch out here. This is one strip club, my girl. In the friends, be very careful, because there is a tendency that the first place that we go looking for a threesome is the friend.
Because of the comfortableness.
Exactly. Because the fact that you figure it's going to be confidential. This is your good brethren. They're not going to really send out now, whatever it is. No. Here is what I will say about the friends. dot I and cross T. You're treading on thin ice where that is concerned, because it has the potential to get stupid. If it's somebody that is visiting in the house often and whatever else, then there is usually, okay, so let me say first, the idea of the threesome is completely different than the act itself. And in the act itself, I find that people come away with all kinds of feelings, all kinds of insecurities.
You go in with it with all kind of feelings, and you come out of it with all kind of feelings.
Sometimes, and the feelings triple up, then triple up, then gone, so then gone all about the place or whatever.
Yeah, because you go inside of yourself, you get there's insecurities that are created.
Insecurities that you went in with, and some that are created
in the act of it.
Right. So be careful about the friends. You don't necessarily want people who are in your circle, because you can lose a good friendship.
It has to be a different kind of friend. It can't be a normal friend.
This has to be an evolved individual.
Yes.
Completely and totally evolved individual for something like this to work. You understand what I mean? So you want to dot I's and cross T's before you go to the friend thing. Miss Lady mentioned the strip club. So it's to determine now, do we want somebody who's outside of the circle, somebody who we're just going to bring into the space for one night? We never see this person
do we
again.
Pay a person?
Are we paying somebody for it?
So, and some people are much more comfortable with that,
because you don't have to worry. Say, your man
when they take the taxi and leave, that's
it. It's done. So it's determining, okay, what works best for your union. And this is, everybody has to be comfortable. The woman has to be comfortable, the man has to be comfortable with the arrangement. And then determining, okay, where are we going to go shop for this person?
True.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything?
I think what we also have to think about is not just... Okay, so when we think about the shopping part of it, right? I think that you have to again come to a compromise, because what the man might find attractive and want might be something completely different from what the woman finds attractive, right? And so you guys have to come to some kind of agreement, or you might be lucky enough to have the other person that is just so glad that they're having a threesome in general that they don't give a shit who you pick. You understand? Them just glad say somebody else is there.
Yep.
Right? But when we get into this threesome thing, we have to be open and we have to be honest and we have to talk about it. When you start to hide the thing, or when you start to plan the threesome thing before you have verbalized to your mate that you are planning this, it always comes out and it will create more insecurity and more drama and more stress. Yes. Don't let the person outside that you want to bring inside know first before you have spoken to your significant other.
Right.
You have to speak to your significant other about it. You guys have to be comfortable. No matter if it might not be her type or might not be his type or whatever, but just the act of it, just knowing that there is another person involved, everybody has to be comfortable. What I also think too though is, there are times when you have the man and the two women, and you would think that the man is the star of the show because there are two women.
Right.
But men, I need you to understand that sometimes you are not the star of the show. And it is really about the chemistry or the sexual appetite, attraction and sexual pleasure that is happening with the two women. And sometimes I know there have been times where men kind of feel like, hold on there, especially if it's in woman, like you're my woman, and we realize, say, hold on, but you come back, you come 3 times with she. You never do that with me yet. And you get into your feelings, like, oh, so it's not, you don't really love me, or you don't really like me, or you don't really. And what I need the men to know from that point of view, and also the woman, when you see your man with this other woman and see him overly excited too, don't get too much in your head and in your heart about that. When you're introducing another thing and involving it in your sexual experience, might be a toy, may be a person, may be anything, it has heightened the sexual thing, that's environment that's going on. Right. So everybody who is getting pleasured is going to be more heightened. don't take it that, oh, so you've been faking it. I don't really please you. No, it's not about that.
The thing is this now, right? You see, you're touching on something that's a big deal. If you are of that mind already, you see, threesomes is not for the soft heart. It is not for the faint of heart, people. Let me tell you all that point blank. It look good on TV and all of them because something, but in a real life, it is not for the faint of heart. So if you already know, so you have a myriad of insecurities to contend with,
and jealousy,
and the jealousy, and the obsessiveness, and the controlling thing. Now, I know you're something is. You leave that alone. Just not
just
to
talk,
you.
Just talk about it. Don't bother do it.
Nothing. You know, but I met that one because I source of God Almighty headache and stress. The other thing too, right, to understand is most of us have never seen ourselves be made love to. Whenever it is that we and our partners together, we're this close. We're this close towards each other, right? So you never see how it is that your partner hold you. Don't see none of them because something there. You understand what I mean? Whenever it is that you are in a threesome, you get the opportunity to watch your lover with somebody else, and you watch them interact and all of them because something there. So because you don't see them behave this way with you, and most of us are cognizant of what's happening because we're caught up in the moment, the feeling. So we don't really penetrate the thing, isn't it? So when you sit there and you're watching your partner, it can be hard. It can be very hard, especially if them locking and kissing and yam the pum pum in a particular kind of way. You understand?
And the person is responding in a kind of way.
Thank you. Exactly. This thing can drive you up the wall. So you have to dot I and cross these, and that is even for the person who is most evolved. There is a time that you might see your lover do something to somebody else, or somebody do something else to your lover. You say, "Bomba clat." John, me never do that yet, though.
Right.
And
look how he responded, or look how she responded.
Exactly. So the thing is this, is to be mindful of those things, yeah? What's going to happen during the act itself. The other thing, too, what happens afterwards. Because the conversation afterwards can make or break the relationship.
Yeah, true.
The conversation afterwards.
Because it concrete the thing. It cement the insecurities or the this or the that. But let me ask you a question even before you go into that.
Right.
So we're talking about threesomes, of course, right? But do you think that if you're talking about bringing someone else into the picture, that if it is more of a couples thing, it's a little easier? Because now the vulnerability, how vulnerable we all are now, is different.
When you say a couple thing, what do you mean? Like, if me
I
and
mean,
you,
like me, you and your man, and me and my man.
Oh, Lord, see me for bringing like a swinging
like
thing?
a couple, yes. So two couples come together. Do you think that that is easier to swallow in a way
versus just an independent person, one person coming in?
Because I guess it depends.
No, I understand. I get where it is actually going in terms of the balance. So him preoccupied with she, me preoccupied with him. The deal is this though, is it happening in the same space?
Yes.
Alright, so if it's happening in the same space, then it can be more balanced. Then again, truth be told is, unless the person that you are with is completely blowing your mind, there is a tendency for us to still be listening out or to be peeking to see what is happening with my partner.
Yeah.
Especially if the person look a particular way.
But that could the peeking and looking could be
a part of the turn on.
Yes.
That could be
because you're looking and you want to see, and seeing it is turning you on.
Yes, but some of the times for some people it is checking to see
how much are you loving it?
Yeah, gauge.
How much is that person liking it?
Sometimes that can be
you can't watch that shit.
But again, that is when you come to the swinging something, that is another level of evolution. That is not again for the faint of heart.
It's
especially
not
in the same room. It's not for the faint of heart. So, like where the threesome is concerned, the conversation that it is that you guys have afterwards, imperative. Now, this is where you're usually going to get the insecurities and so on. And what I've had is the women complaining about how it is that their man was particular way, especially if we are delighted by that experience. You understand what I mean? So your partner, the way your partner responds to this person is going to be completely different than the way they respond to you. Now, the thing is, again, to be mindful of, being respectful or whatever, as you would have set your boundaries from before. So you're determining, okay, fine, is there going to be any kissing? The things that you consider to be intimate.
You have to talk about these things.
Something that before going there. Is it okay for me to kiss the person? Is it okay for me to go down on the person? And by go down, we all know oral sex. Is that okay? Is that something that we're going to sanction, yes or no, right? And then to be mindful that maybe in the act itself, we might have said no kissing. But in the act itself, if we did not give the person the memo and the person reach up and start the kissing, what happens then? You understand?
Which is why it's important to talk about aftermath.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the thing is also to be clear. And the thing is, don't start with the pointing fingers. You were doing this to her, and we never did agree to this and whatever. You understand what I mean? Don't start with the pointing fingers. Don't come from that space any at all. Let's just dialogue openly about it. Get to the space where you can say, all right, I felt something. Instead of, you did I do this, I mean, never. You understand what I mean? I felt something. When you held her this way, when you pull her in close, when you did bury your face down in her neck, we did feel a particular way or whatever else. But don't do this thing where you're blaming the person and saying they did something to straight up right disrespect you. That's gonna mess up things. And
even if you're in your feelings about how the person buried them head in the next person's chest, you cannot get caught up in that it was just the act of that. Remember, at the end of the day, when this threesome is over, this person is still living with you, or still dating you, they're still spending time, them still talk to before them go to bed, them still this, still that. That you act was just
in the moment.
It does not take over the entire relationship.
It doesn't. The other thing too is to understand that a threesome cannot fix a relationship if you guys are having challenges.
No.
Never bring somebody else in as a means of trying to pump up the excitement.
I find that a lot at Hido. I find that a lot at Hido. I meet a lot of people, lot of women that come to Hido with their man to fix it because the man is already cheating and all of this, and they're uncomfortable, and they're like, okay, I'm just going to open myself up and just maybe give him the threesome, because maybe that means that now he won't cheat and I'll know what's going on. That not stop nobody from cheating.
No, it won't.
And don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that it's going to start anybody to cheat either. Because I don't think if me and my man and have a threesome with our next woman, that no, oh my God, I need to be thinking about, is he going to be cheating on me now because we did this? No, because he could have cheated on you before this,
long before,
and you would have never known.
Long before.
So it's not it's nothing about that.
A lot of people though believe that if I open up the relationship in this particular way, then I pretty much just open up the floodgate for the cheating.
Yes, no.
No, I say to people all the time,
the cheating would have happened already.
If it would have happened already. most relationship there is some cheating taking place. You know what I mean? And some persons, as Ramona was saying just now, right, actually open up the relationship to try and make we see if we can just talk about it. Can this thing happen honestly? Can we bring some integrity to this space? You understand me? So if it is that you actually want a woman or whatever else, every now and again, let it happen within a space that I know about it. It's not clandestine.
Right.
You get what I mean? So some people, for that reason, open up the relationship to facilitate that. Again, you always have to be mindful as to what are your motives when it is that you're about to engage in it. Because it's not always just fun and games. The other thing too is, I remember there was a couple who was explaining a situation to me that his wife was particularly repressed, and so he said to her, I feel like you need to be with other people, go and express yourself with other people. So they opened up the marriage so she could go and discover herself sexually or whatever else. You know what I mean? And for me, I thought that was like,
that's amazing.
I thought that was
beautiful.
That
actually
was absolutely mature and selfless.
Yes.
Believe you me, he says, I can't give you this experience. So go, and I will be in this space with you if it makes you comfortable or whatever else. And so I'm asking him, what was that like? And he said it gave him an opportunity, one, to see how she wants to be pleasured, because she came completely undone with somebody else that she didn't have to interact with, them never have to talk about business with, whatever else. Afterwards, she came completely
undone. It was just raw,
pure pleasure. So he said, I got to see what did it for her. You understand what I mean? He said the man all hold her hand when she was climaxing. And I was hot. Like, that is like
that's hot. That's
mind blowing. You get what I mean? So the thing is to know what it is, and at the end of the day, their relationship is stronger because that was a one-off situation. She might have had that lover twice, and then she opened up something
and it was enough for the two of them to just have the two of them
start to keep moving forward or whatever else. So it's not all the time this experience is, we like to think about it as hedonistic. You know what I mean?
Right.
Us indulging this portion of ourselves. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it can be very, very cathartic for the persons involved or whatever else. You know what I mean?
There's a growth that sexually can happen. And we think about growth on all different levels and don't think about it on a sexual level.
Yes.
And sexual growth is very important for all of us to have. So when it comes to threesomes, when it comes to any kind of sexual experience, even having sex outside, that's a sexual growth. Especially if that's something you're not used to. It takes you out of the norm.
Right.
So for me personally, I find that maybe, and I guess from what I've seen, like when I told you a while ago, the woman that I met at hedonism that came to Hedo because she wanted to give her boyfriend that.
This.
At the end of the day, that wasn't stopping him from cheating. That wasn't stopping him from doing anything. He was still going to do it. That was not going to fix the relationship. Threesomes are supposed to, if anything, bring you guys closer together.
That's exactly what it's supposed to do.
It is not supposed to create distance. And if it creates distance, it's because you guys are not talking, not being honest, right? Not being real. No, but if you're not open to it, then let's just not do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
And be honest and be honest that I can't.
It isn't. I remember when my ex-husband came to me first with a threesome, my brain did a shell. No, my ex-husband was my first sex man. The first man me ever have sex with. No, serious to God. Serious to God. And so when he came to me with the idea of a threesome, I said, hello, what do you mean? Sorry, what? Pardon me. I don't understand. But could not rationalize the idea of seeing him with somebody else. And then, further in the marriage, maybe in the second year of the marriage, we meet somebody. And I thought this nigga was fine, like Jesus, like French wine and everything. And I came home and I tell my husband about him. I said, listen, I met someone. Yummy for my tummy. I'm not about to do anything about it. Yummy for my...
For your yoni.
Yes, I'm not about to do anything about it. But that was one of those things to talk about it. Right? Just to tell him that I'm attracted to him. We start hanging out. We start spending time together. The man even come out the yard. Everybody, the whole of we par and them little thing there, because again, I don't have any intention of doing anything. So further into the friendship now, ex-husband come back and him said to me, say, yo, how you feel now? You've had some time, how you feel about the threesome or whatever else? I said, you know what? Strangely enough, I'm opening up to the idea. I said, tell me what it is that you want. What kind of body you have in mind? And he said, yo, you want a decent, real. And he describe her to me. And I said, for real? I said, guess what now? So him say, you comfortable with it? I said, sure. Him say, you want it happen here? I said, no, let's take it away from the house. You know what I mean? Let's have it
anywhere else but here.
Yeah, man, someplace else or whatever. So him say, all right, cool. And then I said, well, I have a request. And him stop. Him say, what? So he might get excited because he want a piece or whatever. So I said, no, I'm not interested in you and the woman. You can knock that out the park. I said, but I want a man. And him stop. Him say, what do you mean you want a man? I said, I want a man. You is my hunger man. If anybody's supposed to get somebody else in the relationship, it's supposed to be me. Because me never yet experienced nobody else other than you do.
Right.
So here is this.
That's fair.
And I said to him, now guess what? Sweetheart, you can sit there at the side of the bed. Side of the bed and watch everything going on. Just give me a moment with him. Give me a moment with him. Please no say the threesome argument dry up, never to return again. That was it. Because that was it. Just the thought of me being with somebody else. And I said, but this is unfair. You want to have that experience. I'm prepared to facilitate it. But me can't have that experience, really and truly.
That's funny. That's funny that you say that, because that's not my reality. My reality is my husband has always been like, babes, you know, say, would I love for y'all see you and do a thing that with all our next month. Not necessarily like how you da react.
Big him up.
How you da react? How you da move? How you would da ray? He's like, why you hold yourself back? Ray. Because of course I'm a sexual person, so
right.
he feels like I'm holding myself back sexually because I'm not
you're not exploring.
I'm not experiencing and exploring all these other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I've been with him since I was almost 22.
I got married at 24, honey.
Yeah, I got married at 24 too.
Oh, seriously?
Yes. so for him, he was just like, "Hun, come on." And for me, at that stage, when it came to another man, for me was hard. For another woman, it was much easier.
Okay, you couldn't be with another man.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Right.
Like I was
that.
the one that would find a woman
And bring them home.
That was me.
Right.
But another man for me was a much harder situation. I don't know why, but for me that was harder for me.
Me did done already. Me see the youth and my skin a catch a fire, and me just kindly make my ex-husband know say hello
I know you one.
I know you one. I know you one. You understand me? Me see a nice little stud cross the ends there. You meet him and everything, the man thing up like seven. And me just kind of make him know, say, listen, brother, you can sit down, right us up on the side of the bed.
And watch.
Watch. Because trust me, I'm going to throw down. You understand me? No, serious. That was the case.
Yeah.
That was the case. But I was more open to that. And as I got older, more mature, this kind of a thing, the idea of a threesome wasn't intimidating to me, because the deal is this: with my partner, my last partner, it was very, very clear that you were just invited in.
Right.
This right here is the union. This is the unit. Everything. The person knew beyond a shadow of a doubt.
You're a guest and you leave.
Thank you. You're a guest and you leave. Mm-hmm. You're a guest and you leave. So it is to get to that space, and if it is that you're not at that space, is to understand that it is not for everyone. It sounds nice, it's enticing and whatever else, but it is not for everyone. It is not for the faint of heart.
And if you are not ready to get into that, put some fucking porno on with some blood clot threesome or foursome or group sex and fuck to that shit, and that can be enough. If
that is a hell of a turn on.
No, but that is an amazing turn on. Are you kidding? If you don't want to introduce anybody to your relationship and there's insecurity or there's this or there's that, that's okay. We're not here saying you must not have a threesome, and if you don't have a threesome, you're not live. But the reality is that if you can then say, you know, hon, I like the idea, something about that really turns me on.
Right.
But something about it also makes me uncomfortable. Then fine.
Leave it.
Go to www.pornhub.com.
My girl, how you know it, so?
Right?
No.
And just click on or write in whatever you need for writing under the category.
And you find it.
And you go through and scroll down and you find what you want and you watch and when you're watching, just look over at the TV every so often and be like, babes, look on that. Just imagine a girl was here.
No, but even the imagining thing is hot, you know.
The imagining
That's
thing
what
is
I'm
hot.
saying. Imagine say him did I touch you this way. What she did I do this to you. In the act itself, you guys can create on a quad, on a threesome, all by yourselves. You don't necessarily have to have somebody there until you are mentally prepared to have the experience.
Yo, you could have you could have been sleeping over there so in the bed, and me and my man over here saw fuck, and you're not even near us, and I can just look over and be like, yo, look on Caleen bottom, and he would have say, yeah babes, it nice, and me that say, yeah babes, it nice. And then, and everybody broke and everybody good and Caleen a dream and I sleep, but and nobody gives two fucks.
Exactly.
Guys, come on. We cannot hold ourselves back sexually because we're worried about society and worried about our insecurities and worried about what our mate is going to think. You have to talk about it and find that medium ground to make everybody comfortable, because at the end of the day, after the blood clot nice sex that you have with the threesome or the whatever, you have to wake up the next day and looking at your blood clot man face. So you need to make sure that you are comfortable with that, because that in itself can turn into a negative thing, like you were saying, where now the relationship is in jeopardy because we didn't talk enough, because you weren't open, because you weren't honest, and now we have an issue.
The thing too is to get to the space, ladies. I say something all the time. Ask your partner what is working. Sexually, what is working. Tell me, are you still satisfied? Talk about the sex. Talk about the sex. Are you still satisfied? Is there something that you want me to bring to the table that would heighten the experience for you?
I think even if you ask that, people not answer honestly.
No, and that is true. That is true. But then what I'm saying is from get-go, you have to create that space. You have to create that space. And the only reason that somebody wouldn't answer that question honestly is because they would have been punished in the past. Them would have said something and it was met with a whole heap of animosity. It was met with punishment or something along those lines. You understand what I mean? So now the thing is to get to the space where we can dialogue comfortably and it not get stupid. We can talk about the different things that we want to see, the different things that we want to experience, and it don't get stupid none at all. Right? Once we get to that space, then and only then can we hope to have honest conversation. But I ask my partner, tell me what works for you. Am I still doing it for you? Is there something that you want to try? Yes, baby. Somebody said, me,
yes.
Want you, baby.
Suppose you're the outside person looking to do a threesome with a couple.
Right.
How do you approach that situation? Because it can be uncomfortable for a lot of persons to enter in that dynamic, you know.
They don't need to be uncomfortable.
Hold on. So wait. Just in case anybody, the person's in here. So somebody asked the question: if there is somebody on the outside who wants to approach a couple, how do they go about doing that?
Right. I don't think there needs to be uncomfortable. I think the fact, I understand why there would be
discomfort.
Yes, I understand why. But being the outsider coming in, you are in a much better position than the couple, because you can come, do your thing and leave and create one bag of fucking excitement that you never even thought that you would have created in terms of stress and drama because of what happened and what the woman saw that made her uncomfortable or the man saw that made him uncomfortable, right? So I can understand being uncomfortable or not knowing how to approach the situation, but
so the conversation needs to be had with the outside person.
It has to.
Definitely, there's no two ways about it. But for somebody who's approaching, I remember my ex-husband and I were at one of them very popular parties, and a woman just came and she saw both of us together. Me over there, so I ordered something, and she just came. She held on to me, and she call it there. She waited till husband was finished. She hold on to him and she says, "I think you guys are gorgeous. Are you guys together?" I said, "Yeah, we're married." She says, "I would love to come home with you. How do you feel about that?"
Nice.
And I just looked at her like flabbergasted, like, what? Sorry, what now? Because me, I said, our thing just brazen. My ex-husband face light up like the man give a sweep up and down, like him a try for the side.
Were you surprised?
Like him a try for the side. Yo, let me see if she worth it. Turn on, baby. You understand? I'm gonna try stand. I'm like, okay. I'm looking at him. He's looking at me, and so like trying to decipher what is happening here. At this time, we're still just in a shock. That the woman would have just been so brazen that she would have just said what it is that she said. So hubby hold on to me and he says, "You know what, we're completely flattered, you know, that you would ask us or whatever else, but we're gonna have to pass on that right now." No. And that was him doing the dignified thing. I mean, honest to God, and I think he responded that way because me still never did recover.
He didn't know how
so he never exactly. So I think he did that just to cover me,
right?
Just to cover me or whatever. So the thing is, one, be straight up. Be straight up. I like the idea of approaching both versus approaching one person. Because the thing is, if you approach the man, the woman might feel a little weird. You understand what I mean? It might be a little bit difficult to explain or whatever else. So my thing is, if you are outside and you're trying to approach a couple or whatever else, really it is just to say the same way that you would compliment somebody. I like you guys. I think you guys are awesome. Are you guys open to the idea of a threesome?
Or even,
yes or no?
Or even just saying, "Oh my God, you guys are so beautiful and sexy. I can imagine how you guys are in bed," or something like that. It doesn't have to be where I'm like, "Yo, right?" It don't have to be like that. but it can be something, because at the end of the day, all of us like flattery.
Right,
as a
right.
couple or individually.
there.
So if you can flatter the couple, right, then it takes to the whole other level. Like I know, like there was this woman that actually my husband had found, right, and she wasn't necessarily my type.
Okay.
Right? She wasn't necessarily my type, right?
What is your type? Come on, girl, upon my type. You
No,
understand
I'm
me?
just saying.
Shoot.
She wasn't, but the connection and the vibe that we created in that night, in terms of like we go to the bar and this and par and whatever, was
Right.
great. It
Set
allowed
the stage.
it allowed us to be able to
open up to us.
yes,
Right.
it definitely softened certain things so that we could then just be right. And he found her. So for all I know, because I don't know, him could have done fuck her already. And him just have said, well, you know,
just
say
come in,
wifey,
come in,
you know,
come
say
in.
ray, so you
Right.
could have ray, and ray, right? But in bringing that and allowing us to hang out and allowing us to par and that kind of thing,
Right.
it ended up being that even though he had brought her in, she did overglad about me. She was overglad.
Okay.
She was overglad, and she liked dick
Right.
and a pussy she loved.
Right.
But the
You excited her
vibe
more.
and the this and the that and the whatever shifted the dynamics to where my husband had to be like, but hold on. And on me bring her.
Oh, it's really fun.
How this work out? How this thing? So that is also a reality, guys, that these things can shift. And
Every
if you
time.
go and there's nothing wrong if you go inside of yourself and you feel a little away for a moment. But there's no reason to feel away for no long hell of a time.
Right.
So if that is the case, then there definitely is a different type of issue that you guys have to deal with.
Question from IG. What do you think about a dominant and a submissive?
What
Well,
about
there's
them?
always a dominant and a submissive.
Right. What about them? Let's have to get more
That's what they
specific.
asked.
No,
What-
there's
no,
always
they-
a dominant and a submissive.
We're going to need some more information. We're going to need some more information.
There's
Are
always.
they talking about this in a threesome capacity? What? Need some more info. Need some more information. So
Yeah.
put a little bit more upon the question there. Right. And usually the thing is this, right? I find that the roles, at least what I like, is that the roles are fluid. Between the dom and the submissive.
You want it to switch.
I want the roles to switch based on the energy, based on
The
the,
vibe.
chemistry or whatever else. There are times that I want to be dominant, and there's another time that honey just handle that.
Right.
Just
fling me against a wall and just deal with my
ravage
blood
me. You
clot
understand me?
case.
Exactly. So for me, the roles, we should understand that the roles are they should be fluid.
There should be.
I'm comfortable with them being fluid or whatever else. But the deal is how we stay with time, Q. The deal is this, right?
Time.
The deal is this, okay, so we're at that place, so we soon have to start the wrapping up process or whatever else. The deal is this, what we want for you guys to understand is, threesomes have been trending for a minute now. Really and truly it is to be able to have open, comfortable dialogue about the fact that this might be a fantasy for you. What exactly is your fantasy? If it is that you want a two-man, I may understand that the two-man thing in a Jamaica might be a little bit technical.
My girl, I'm not
hard
just
to come
Jamaica.
by. It might be technical all around, right? So the thing is just to be able to articulate that to your partner, to create that space in your relationship where you guys can openly dialogue about it. Don't get stupid about that conversation. And by that I mean, bear in mind that we don't own each other. I find that thing so annoying in relationships. You do not own the people that you are with.
I know
Hence,
you're a
therefore-
pussy, a fair pussy.
Thank you, and it is
And a
still there.
theme dick, and
So
a
there-
few dick, a theme dick.
No, so the thing too is to be able to have conversations about it. So you cannot get upset because somebody tell you say they're curious about sleeping with somebody.
Yes, don't be
else.
ignorant.
It is human nature, for
Come on,
God's
guys,
sake.
don't be ignorant
It's
about it.
human nature. The fact that I'm with you, it didn't shut off my curiosity. It is
And
the
the fact
reason
that
why
I'm talking to you about it, you should respect.
you should respect it, exactly, because that's somebody who wants you to know what's happening with them. So be at peace if your partner come to you and say that this is something that they're curious about, this is an experience that they want. Facilitate the conversation. We're not saying that you have to go all the way, but facilitate the conversation. You know what I mean? There you go. The other thing too is to dialogue how it is that you're going to interface with this person. I say, and I still maintain.
And you have to plan it.
Circle. Stay away from the friend circle because that can get stupid. It has the potential to get stupid. Insecurities can build all kinds of whatever else. So until you guys are, everybody have to comfortable. Everybody has to be at a place where they're evolved enough that they know it was just in the moment and it finish it done. Outside of that, determine how you're going to grab this person, where you're going to go shopping for this person, how you want this whole interaction. Set your parameters. What is okay, what is not okay. Yeah? And then you take it from there. Have open dialogue after the fact. How was it beneficial?
And after.
Before and after the fact.
And guys, when you're having, if a threesome or any kind of fantasy, if you have any kind of fantasy, there's nothing wrong with talking about it while you're having sex with your partner. It is actually the best thing because sometimes you don't physically have to do the fantasy. Sometimes it can just be the fact that we're talking about it and the whole.
Just leave it. Right. Just leave it.
And all of my underneath I get excitable because we're talking about it and I'm so much more, wet and this and that and all these things are happening that can be enough. It doesn't necessarily have to be that we're physically doing my fantasy or your fantasy. We can just be talking about it. And alright, that's not supposed to go nowhere.
Exactly.
And we can just be talking about it, and in that retrospect with having sex, it is enough. So guys, we're not saying that everybody must go have a threesome. Please understand that. Now we're wrapping up, we're coming to that time, unfortunately, where we have to be like, cut. You guys know we do this every single Friday at 9 p.m. Jamaican time. If you are not following Caleen D, please do so on Instagram. If you're not following Cosmic Woman or the Vagina Lady, please do so as well. I know that Caleen has a lap dance, and it's not on
no, it's not
on
live.
Zoom. It is live.
Lap dance is live this Sunday, 4 p.m. at CNC South Beach. Okay, so if you check out my page, you'll see where it is that you can register for class. It's going to be sexy and hot. No, I think you have something that's coming up. Which one is the toning
so
class?
we have the penis toning class, that's at the end of the month, and we also have the vaginal toning class that's at the end of the month. The penis toning class, we call it the pelvic toning because it's a little easier because of fucking society that we have to not say fucking penis, but this is a penis toning class, okay? And we tone the muscles around the penis. We even tone the anus a little bit because guys, I'm just gonna be real with you. If your anus muscles aren't toned, you ain't fucking as good as you could. It's not about getting fucked in your ass. It's just about your ass muscles being toned, and I don't mean the buttocks, glutes ass. I mean the muscles that are around the asshole. That part that me are talking about. So that class is at the end of the month. It is a free class, so please, gentlemen, please join. It was a great class last month. The gentlemen had a great time, and of course everybody leaves horny. And then we also have a yoni toning class, which is also a vaginal toning class, but we call it yoni toning because, of course, again, it's easier to swallow. And that is at the end of the month. That is at the end of the month as well. That class, unfortunately, is not free this time around. It was free for the past 2 months. It is not free this time. I think it is $8 in Jamaican and 1,000 Jamaican, $8 US, I believe is what the price is. But we will definitely have that at the end of the month. If you guys want one-on-one, please just send a DM or a WhatsApp because one-on-one is available. And I know that one-on-one classes for Caleen as and well are, and couple classes are available as well. It's always great to be here and to talk about all this niceness. Next week we will definitely still be talking about threesomes because we have not finished. There's so much more to talk about. So we will be here next week at 9 p.m. Jamaica time.
Sharp.
Is there anything else you want to tell them?
again, I really am hoping, and I would like, you know, for us to get some feedback in terms of whether or not, how do you feel about Pum Pum 101? Have you been getting any information that is useful to you in your relationship? Has this been beneficial to you? Please let us know. Please let us know whenever it is that we post something. Send us a DM, something, so we know what's going on. Please, again, go home and go practice the things then. Have the conversation. What it is that we're hoping for is that at the end of the day, not only are you having better sex, but then you have better relationships because you know how to relate to each other.
Yeah.
So start to create that place where you can talk openly, even if it is just about your insecurities. Start having that discussion. I believe that relationships work. We just need the tools to be able to get them done. This has been another episode of Pum Pum 101. We want to thank you all so very much for spending your Friday, this 1 hour of your Friday with us. We sincerely do hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Practice. Cheers to amazing fucking sex, y'all.
And if y'all can't have fucking sex, blood clot, masturbate and love it.
Jesus.
And climb the Himalayas and float on all the blood clot cloud then. Because
Just like that.
you deserve it.
Absolutely.
Love
Blessings,
and light to
everyone.
all of you.
Mwah.
Cheers.
Bye.
You too dirty and